What's up, AI enthusiasts? Today, we're tackling a story that's shaking the foundations of the AI tech world. It's about DeepSeek and how this obscure Chinese startup is completely redefining what's possible with artificial intelligence, especially in terms of cost. Imagine building a rival even to ChatGPT, but for a budget so modest that it makes most tech giants look like they're in the Stone Age. We're talking about a development that's being called a Sputnik moment for AI, a total paradigm shift. DeepSeek has already taken the top spot for most downloaded apps on Apple's US store, exceeding even ChatGPT in just a week. Think about that for a second. It's a true David versus Goliath moment. The question is, how did they do it? And more importantly, what does it mean for us? Get ready to dive into this wild ride. We're going to unbox how DeepSeek managed to pull off this incredible feat. We'll examine DeepSeek's architecture, look at its open-source approach, analyze its cost savings, and explore the possible strategic reasons why it's become such a game-changer so fast. This isn't some fly-by-night operation. We're talking about a potentially massive disruption to the industry, and it should make every single one of you sit up and take notice. One of the most astonishing things about DeepSeek is the sheer difference in cost. Reports say that somewhere around $6 million was spent to train DeepSeek's massive AI models, far less than the hundreds of millions, sometimes over $1 billion, being poured into comparable projects by the top AI firms here in the States. Think about it. Some of the biggest names are throwing trillions of dollars at training and developing their models, and DeepSeek is doing it for chump change. This raises some serious questions. Were all of those massive investments really necessary? Are the current valuations of AI giants justified, or are we in a very big tech bubble? We'll discuss the financial implications and dive into whether this massive cost difference could trigger a reevaluation of valuations among some of the major players. Is it a sign that some of the huge capital investments in AI are ultimately wasteful? Or might it signal that there's a potential tipping point where smaller, more agile companies can suddenly become real competitors to the massive names like Nvidia and OpenAI? The implications are huge, so let's unpack the reasons such an impact is felt across markets. DeepSeek and its model are open source, which is also key to understanding its success. Now, I know what you're thinking, and you're right. Open source projects can be problematic. There's a risk that AI models might be abused, right? And nobody takes responsibility for what kind of outcomes result. That said, DeepSeek's audacious open source strategy could be a huge game changer. By making its work fully open to the public, DeepSeek is lowering the barriers to entry for developers and researchers worldwide, giving rise to a massively broader community of people who work together to refine and enhance the technology and potentially find new ways to leverage its capabilities, which may well accelerate the development of AI in general. The open-source strategy makes it harder for competitors to copy DeepSeek. The developers cannot just make a clone because all of that source code and the internal workings are open, which would eliminate any intellectual property concern. What's more, the open-source nature of it increases transparency and accountability. By making R1 publicly available, developers can scrutinize the code and identify any biases or potential security flaws and share what they find, driving improvements in the functionality and reliability of R1. We'll get into a deeper level of detail about how these different kinds of openness impact trust, safety, corporate profits, and the long-term health of the AI space. So let's drill into the reasons that making generative AI open-ended proves to be an advantage. Now, let's talk about the geopolitical elephant in the room, the US-China tech rivalry. DeepSeek's success comes amidst ongoing tensions and restrictions on technology exports between the US and China. The US government implemented export controls on advanced chips and software a few years ago. It was meant to slow down progress in China. The restrictions are thought to have caused the Chinese leadership to prioritize smaller language models to reduce their infrastructure needs, while focusing on ingenuity and efficiency instead. So DeepSeek's ability to produce a top-performing tool with limited hardware resources is a massive wake-up call. It's a testament to Chinese ingenuity, and it shows how challenging it might even be for the US efforts in slowing AI progress in China. We're going to explore the geopolitical aspects of DeepSeek's success, and if the restrictions on technology exports to China will prove to be as effective as is intended. How will this affect the balance of power in AI, and what strategies are the US and China and other nations likely to adopt in the future? Are there concerns that AI is likely to become a new battleground in the competition? Now, let's turn our attention to the other side of the coin, the US government's response. While DeepSeek represents a potential challenge to the current approach to AI, we have President Trump's unveiling of the Stargate project. It is a massive AI infrastructure plan backed by SoftBank and major tech players including OpenAI, Oracle, Nvidia, and Microsoft as key tech partners. It's intended to inject up to a cool $500 billion in infrastructure for AI development over the next 4 years into the U.S. economy, a serious commitment to ensure America's AI dominance. Trump argues it will generate employment opportunities and strengthen America's position in the technology sector to meet the new competition and avoid falling behind. The scale is absolutely mind-blowing. We're talking about a significant commitment that could reshape the AI landscape for a long time. This shows the new White House's ambitions to stay ahead in this fast-growing and rapidly evolving tech space. We'll weigh both sides of the coin, the potential for a golden age that may be driven by Stargate versus fears of potential overspending and the risk of over-reliance on a handful of technology giants. Is this project a sign that the U.S. is finally taking AI development very, very seriously? Or is it a panic reaction to the emergence of DeepSeek and other Chinese competitors? Why? And which strategy will ultimately emerge as the winner? Or will the competition simply make the whole pie bigger for everyone? Now, let's talk about some of the key players in this rapidly evolving landscape and how the DeepSeek breakthrough impacts them. The first name to mention is OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT. It's already seen its star power decline somewhat with the rise of DeepSeek, in terms of market share but also investor confidence. The question is, will OpenAI be able to maintain its AI leadership position when faced with much cheaper alternatives? We'll look at OpenAI's response to DeepSeek's success and its ongoing development plans, including its Stargate partnership, to see how it's addressing the challenges. Is OpenAI investing wisely, especially after all of the headlines over the recent past about massive layoffs? Or are its gigantic valuations based on a model that's becoming obsolete? Its financial commitment to Stargate could change everything and suggest that it is on track to continue its AI leadership for many years. What measures is it adopting to protect itself from the looming threat of rapidly expanding, low-cost competitors? How will this affect its relationships with existing partners like Microsoft, which will gain access to new cloud capacity through the Stargate agreement, but will otherwise retain key partnership elements through 2030? The deal also ensures that cloud provider market share among hyperscalers will consolidate yet again, with OpenAI receiving the greatest benefit, particularly in terms of compute resource allocation. OpenAI's ongoing commitment to research will be examined too, and what its future might hold. Another company feeling the heat from DeepSeek is Nvidia, the company that's currently dominating the AI chip market with its stunningly high-margin GPU technology that is crucial for AI model training. That dominance is now being challenged by several companies, and Nvidia's success is now directly tied to its ability to keep pace with the competition while scaling its products and services around the globe and meeting the needs of all customers without exception. Nvidia's stock price took a serious hit, but this is not the first time it's been battered. It has faced several headwinds recently in the stock market, in part because of AI-driven hype, but also because it's simply so expensive. However, its current valuations are likely justified because of its solid place in the emerging AI market. We'll dissect the reasons behind Nvidia's stock price fluctuations and analyze its strategy for maintaining its market leadership. Its commitment to innovative chip design and close relationships with key players like OpenAI and Microsoft underscore its positioning to benefit from the Stargate initiative, potentially leading to substantial market cap gains. Nevertheless, the question of whether or not its high valuation is justified versus DeepSeek will be weighed critically. And now, let's get into how Oracle is faring in this rapidly changing environment. Oracle has been consistently positioned as a key player in the AI infrastructure space. It's involved in Stargate and has been actively working to integrate AI capabilities into its database products and cloud services. After a substantial investment in AI infrastructure and services, it's imperative that Oracle effectively leverages its expertise and continues to introduce new innovative solutions and services to sustain its position in this expanding sector. For example, the company's recent success with Database 23 AI has been very well received and can be seen as a clear signal that the company remains at the forefront of this burgeoning AI and data landscape. Its success will depend directly on its ability to meet the demands of its existing customer base and grow its revenue as the market shifts. The company's close relationship with both OpenAI and Meta, as well as Microsoft and AWS, should be an advantage. How will Oracle position itself moving forward, and whether it can sustain investor confidence amidst increasing competition and more nimble, cost-effective alternatives? We'll also explore Oracle's strategies for leveraging AI in the cloud, particularly its recent partnerships and its plans for expanding into new markets. All of this will come into focus as it leverages AI for data and application use cases. And finally, let's talk about Microsoft's place in all of this. Microsoft has long emphasized its strategic commitments to AI, specifically in its long and strong partnership with OpenAI, but also has faced some recent headwinds from this new competition. What should investors look for moving forward, especially because Microsoft's investments and spending have been substantial and likely exceeded those from any other vendor in the space? We'll analyze Microsoft's AI strategy relative to DeepSeek and Stargate and its current position in the market, including its plans for its Azure cloud business, the ongoing partnership with OpenAI, and also what is happening in its Microsoft 365 and its Bing search engines. Can it maintain its status, or is it at risk of losing market share? For the longer term, does Microsoft stand to benefit from the Stargate project, or will the massive growth in resources and the attention it gets cause investors to worry? We're going to dig into the extent to which Microsoft's position has been impacted by the DeepSeek announcement and what it might do in the longer term. Will it start to prioritize cost efficiency? And how will it adjust its strategy in response to these changing competitive dynamics? And will its AI technology prove to be sufficiently advanced to remain at the top of the AI field in terms of both capability and user experience?